Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. I'm excited. Today is day 4, the last day of the Affiliate Networks Challenge. Essentially, the goal here today is to wrap it up, to pick a niche, pick an area, pick a niche, pick a thing that's going to differentiate you from the competition. That's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to go over a few of the niches that in the affiliate networks that I think are just the ones that just make the most sense. Um, Good morning, Jessica. How are you? Let's see here. Get things set up here. If you guys are live on YouTube, I've been getting quite a few comments on YouTube. You're welcome to join us. It's free to be a part of the community inside of school. If you go to mightyprocessserver.com, click on classroom, it'll take you right inside the community where you can see the calendar, and all of our calendar links are inside of there. All right, I'm ready. So let's go ahead and do a screen share and get started here. I'm pretty excited about this because when I first got started, all of the things that I learned, the different niches that you can do as a process server, I learned them the hard way. The first one that I'll mention is one where the very first one that I ever learned was evictions. I did some decent marketing, and I had a Google My Business page up, and I had somebody call me. Her name was I call her Donna always, but this is actually Donna. And she called me and she was like, "Yeah, how much do you guys charge for an eviction? Do you guys do an eviction package?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, absolutely." And I had no idea what she was talking about. I assumed she meant evictions and you serving an eviction, but I knew I had to do some research. The fake it till you make it was in full swing, I guess, at that during that conversation. But she gave me some valid information. She said, "How much, if you're new, this is really big, okay? Because you don't have to have that conversation. I'm going to give it to you now." So we're going to talk about a few niches today, and we're going to and any questions you guys have, feel free to raise your hand using Zoom or put it in the chat. All right. Good morning, Jeff. How are you,
Good
sir?
morning. Good morning. Sorry I'm late.
No, you're fine. What are you talking about? It's 8:02. Sometimes I get people showing up at 8:45. I don't care. I don't care. I kind of for me it's like I could sit down and just record a training, but I actually like the engagement. I like the people showing up, and you guys, it's a mastermind, right? So I just happen to add training to it, which is really works out actually, because sometimes people will show up 30 minutes late. If you're doing an actual mastermind, you can't do that because people are counting on you to show up, right? But if I'm doing a training, then you show up whenever you can during that time block, and you can participate a little bit according to when you're available. So I really like that. It seems to be working.
Two quick questions. One was, is yesterday's meeting recorded somewhere online that I could go back and look at?
Yes, yes. I did it live on YouTube. It's and I'm gonna put it on inside the community as well in the day number 3.
Okay, and I want to take advantage of one thing. What skip tracing database site was somebody referring to yesterday that Andy mentioned in his post 1 hour ago?
I'd have to look at it. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right.
But someone could chat if they know, they could put it in the chat. But yeah, I'll check that out. That's interesting.
All right.
Yeah, there's one that I like that you guys might think about. These guys kind of were rude. But whatever. It could have been one individual customer service person. But Amberjack, it's owned by Delve Point, but they don't require a site inspection. And to be honest with you, it's the number one reason I backed off of my skip tracing platform, because basically these guys had already figured it out. Delve Point had already figured it out. They went and started Amberjack, and then they just blocked all the data that they weren't allowed to show without a site inspection. So like competing with someone like that that's already light years ahead, that's one of the reasons I pretty much called shop on that. I could have found a different developer, but I was like, all right. Because Dell Point and TLO, they got it down pretty good. Those are two really good sites. If you're just looking for a solid skip tracing tool, those are solid. They all have their own issues and they keep going up in price, but inflation, yeah. So, all right, cool. So let's dive into it. Oh, I'm so excited about marketing, guys. I'm just going to tell you this so that I can get it off my chest. Otherwise, I'll go crazy. I have been diving deep into AI tools for marketing, and oh my gosh, you're going to start to see too much content from me in the next few months, years, because AI is just it's just insane what you can do. So we're going to come out with that probably this September. So I was going to wait till October because I'm going to be traveling, but I'm so excited about it. I'm going to be testing it out early September, and then mid-September we'll start another challenge. I'll call it a challenge masterclass, right? During the mastermind meetings in the mornings, I'll teach you guys the marketing stuff that I'm doing. And some of it costs money, but some of it's free, but it's all automated. Like it's like where you can create content at scale, and and that's all I'll say about that for now. Okay. All right, so there's a few different ones I want to cover just to give you guys a framework for those of you guys that are new, that are learning this. As a process server, you're a part of the litigation process where it's like you, without you, the attorney shows up to court and they have to, they have to show proof that the person was notified in order to be able to sue them and get a judgment against them. Okay, so that's the process. Understanding that full process helped me so much in understanding different niches that I could be involved with. A big part on the early side of things is like a notary public. When it comes to real estate, which is one of the things I want to go over today, um, and I'm going to show you guys a couple tools for being able to find the guys who actually are probably owed money, a lot of money. Um, and all you need, here's the cool thing about this. When we talk about judgment recovery, you might go out and find judgments and buy them, right? From just an individual. But if you go to somebody who buys five or six homes a year, flips them, hires contractors, who's doing this as a business, you only need like a handful, maybe like five different real estate buyers who to work for that could keep you busy doing judgment recovery. So if you're somebody who wants to help people collect on their judgments, I think real estate is one of the best ones to get involved with. However, there's a lot of other ones. There's a lot of other ones. So let me bring up my screen here. Just want to kind of give it a little overview. I want to see. I just posted this poll, and I'm going to leave it up for a while because I want to see what people have to say. But let's look at this poll. Oh boy. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Where did I go? I'll just bring it up fresh. I'll just bring it up fresh, I guess. Okay, school. Let's see here. So yeah, so I did this poll, networking challenge. Today's day 4, right? So I really don't want you to leave or come away from this challenge not having at least considered a niche to go down to start exploring. And the reason why is because for me, like I was telling you, when I didn't put evictions here, I probably should. Actually, I'm going to. Oh, I can't after somebody's voted. Has anyone voted? Let me see.
Yeah.
Yeah, people voted. Yeah. So, but yeah, so evictions is a really good one. I feel like it was my first one. And what happened was when I, sorry, excuse me, guys. And what happened was when Donna called me, let me just pick one, see if anybody voted. Yeah, 6 votes. Yeah, judgment recovery. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. California folks will be all about e-filing, but nobody yet. So Notary Public and 6 for judgment recovery. I like it. I like it. Yeah, it just makes sense, right? We're serving them. It's like, hey, we're like at the tail end of the process of somebody having an issue, right? And then we're actually serving it. See here, yesterday's session. Oh yeah, yeah. I love that. Jeff, I'll find you somebody. I was actually thinking about that. You actually sparked an idea with the Newport Beach serve you have.
Yeah.
Um, I was actually thinking about that. Like that could be a whole part of the community that where like I could actually bring people into the community just if we need somebody in a certain area, I'll find you somebody at a good rate, get them to join the directory and join the community, and it's just a win-win-win all the way around.
Well, I told you 7 months ago when you put up the first directory that I would go to that directory first. And if you remember, I said people have to answer their phones because the guy didn't answer their phone. But
Yeah.
I will always give this group a first shot if I can, get a response or get somebody.
I appreciate
I don't care how much it is because I'm not paying it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. No, that's great. Yeah, I think if we network together like that, we're gonna benefit big time. It over in the long run because people are gonna be going after it. As far as answering the phones, man, that's always a thing. I've always dealt with that with people, and you just go on to the next person, and then and maybe you end up going back to that person if they call back or something. But for me, it's always about getting a decent rate, and they're actually willing to do the things that I'm asking. Like, can you communicate? Can you sign a proof if I send it within within 24 hours, right? Like, it's not too much to ask. So, so with evictions, okay, I just want to go through this process really quick. So when somebody calls and they ask about an eviction, every state's a little bit different, but they're pretty much across the board that the court will give a judgment and then they will give some type of instruction letter, which we call it in California, they call it a writ, right? Writ of attachment, whether it's for wages, to attach their wages and collect money out of each of their checks to be paid to, and the sheriff is usually the one that manages that. So often what you'll do is you'll take and this is not meant to be like a master class in evictions, okay? But the idea is you need to have a fee in mind for each of those things if you're going to do evictions. How much do you charge to literally take the writ of the documents called a writ? How much you charge to take that writ from the courthouse, get it issued by the court, and take it down to the sheriff for the sheriff to go and do the lockout. The sheriff also charges you money. If it's 40, I think it's like $40 last time I checked. And so all of this moving working parts could be an entire package service, which it ended up being. California actually has a thing called unlawful detainer assistant. And so I got that. I don't think you need that, but I got that so that we could start preparing evictions on our own for direct to consumer, direct to the person, the homeowner. So bear with me a second. If you're doing the evictions and you know how to do an eviction from A to Z, you're not a property manager, you're just a judgment, recovery, process serving, legal services support company, right? And you're doing evictions. You're gonna find a lot. That's upstream, right? So it's come starting up here. They had an issue. They had to evict them. They posted a notice. They had to wait so many days. Boom, you served the eviction, right? You actually went and served the legal documents once they were filed from the court. So many days had to go by, and now the sheriff can lock them out. So now you're taking the documents, the writ and the judgment and the writ of execution down to the sheriff's department so they can actually get locked out. Well, that whole process happens. Then they find out in court that a part of the judgment was that they trashed the house. So now that tenant who couldn't afford to pay rent moved on. They can't afford to pay any kind of judgment, any fees towards judgment or back due rent. And then now you can be the person that collects from them, right? You can be the person that actually collects the money, follows them. You know their name, you know where they are, you know, okay, they're going to come over here, they're going to, I mean, think about it. You think that there's like when you're young, I think we think that there's some government agency that's following people around to um, collect on individual judgments. No, no, government judgments, absolutely. There's somebody hired and paid to do that. But for individuals, It's just the individual has to hire somebody, a PI or a collection agency or something like that. How can we learn to do evictions A to Z? I'm sure I've done it by getting affiliate work, but couldn't tell myself. Oh yeah. You can learn that in here. The problem with evictions is every state's a little bit different. Okay, because I know in California, I was an absolute expert, right? I was unlawful detainer assistant. But then I went to Florida and I found out in Florida that they could just post the eviction on the first attempt. After they knock on the door, they look around, they can't see anybody, they just post it. I was blown away by that because like what if the person moved? They're gonna have an actual eviction on their record and they've already moved out. It's just baffling to me. So every state is a little bit different. And I know there's other parts to eviction in Florida. I just don't know them that well. So, right. So a part of it, and this is where I was telling Shayna, that's right. I was telling Shayna that if you wanted to work with somebody locally so that that person could show you those ropes. So this is why working for affiliates is good in the beginning because you learn what you don't know and then you can apply it and then you could go, hmm. So what I did, let me tell you what I did. Well, Donna asked me how much you charge for a writ. I was like, I have to look at my rate sheet. Total BS. I had no idea what a writ was. This was like, I'm talking about like my third month in business. And and I was getting lots of calls because I had my Google My Business set up, right? I had my website. I think I had like a Wix website, some little like, crummy website, but it was like something. And she called me and she's like, how much you charge for a writ, how much you charge for the default. I forgot to mention the default. So if they don't file an answer in a certain amount of time, you can file a default. And when you file the default saying, hey, they didn't file an answer, we just get a judgment against them, please, judge, right? The judge goes, that's right. It's been enough time. They should have filed an answer. You win. Boom. That's the golden ticket for a property owner because the person didn't even file an answer. The worst thing you could do as a process server is tell somebody that you served, make sure you file an answer. Because I mean, you can't, first of all, you can't give legal advice, but you're also really screwing over that homeowner because they could have gotten a judgment, just got the eviction process, would have moved forward and got him out. But if you ever have a friend that is going through it and you want them to be able to stay in a little longer, just by filing an answer, they're going to have a few more weeks because it's going to get set for a hearing and then, the whole process will begin. So, okay, so that's evictions. How do you get eviction clients? It's the easiest thing in the world. We did this in the 90-day challenge, and I keep calling it 90-day challenge. That's what it started out as, right? The 10K challenge. You call property management companies and you just say, hey, who's your attorney? Who do you use as an attorney? Because I'm a process server. By the way, I can serve your notices for free. When I'm in the area, I can serve your notices. Um, you don't have to offer them for free, but like I'll serve a couple for free for you so you can see our work, and then I'll only charge you like 15 bucks or something like that. My goal is to handle the entire eviction process for you. Well, we use these attorneys. You can keep using them. Who are they? That's how you find out, right? So like, oh, that's and you see me do it live. I talked to a lady and she told me who the attorney was live. I called the attorney live and the attorney's paralegal answered and she got him my information. And now we're getting evictions all over Albuquerque and this whole area over here. And they're the biggest. All the property management companies I called said that the Salcedo guys or the Salcedo brothers are the eviction attorneys in town. They do all the evictions, hundreds of evictions every month. Can you imagine the eviction process? Just the eviction process itself includes like five different serves. You know, when you think about the notice, when you think about the fact that you had to serve the notice and then you had to go serve the next thing. Hi, Mandy. I just want to say hi. Good morning. And Shayna and Andy, everybody trickling in here. How's it going, guys? Everybody feeling good? Awesome. Okay. Mm, I got my liquid cocaine. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. I don't endorse that. All right. Shayna says, good, good, good. Okay. So evictions. That's evictions in a nutshell. And she asked me those questions. What I did was about like how much I charged to take the writ to the sheriff and all this whole process I had no idea about. I had been to a CalS Pros certification, an association conference certification class. I learned, didn't remember any of it. Okay. I took the test. I only remember what I had to learn so I could take the test, but I made relationships in the class. I built relationships with people in the class that I could call. One of the guys' names was Chad Barger. He's over in Bakersfield. I think we were just talking about him actually with some, I think it was Andy. We're talking about Chad. He's the closest one to that place out in the middle of nowhere. I did a writ for ABC for $25. Yeah, yeah. So writs, if you're just taking it to the sheriff, is that what you were doing? It was
No, I did writs for $25, and it basically I had to take it to the sheriff's department, and then they had to approve it, and then I had to serve it, and then bring the paperwork back to the sheriff's department, get it approved, mail it back to ABC, and then get paid. I was like, okay, what the hell's going on? I did it for the experience, obviously, but definitely not
mm.
worth it.
No, it's not worth it. And when you do writs, a lot of guys that do writs at a high level, I know a couple of them. Michael, he was from Oregon. What's his last name? Mike. Anyway, it'll come to me in a minute. But he actually only did writs and he would do 500, 600 writs at a time. So I think he charged $25 each, but each time it would be like 10,000, 20. It'd be a lot of money that he would make because he would do a hundreds of them at a time for like Chase or Wells Fargo and stuff like that. And
And
I'm pretty sure that's what ABC does as well. They get this big volume of writs. So this could be the thing, right? Like so instead of evictions, maybe it's just doing writs. And the fact is there's a software that allows you to automate writs. And we're talking about California a little bit here, but I'm sure these other states have it. Jeff, do you recall what you guys do, how you guys handle the lockout part of evictions?
it's the last stage. The sheriff has to do that part when they put this stuff out in the sidewalk. But we can
Mhm.
do everything. We can do everything prior to that.
Yeah. Do you know, do they call it a writ as well?
Unlawful detainer and then possession. So no.
Some type of document
Yeah.
that communicates from the court to the sheriff that hey, it's
Yeah.
time to lock him up. That's what a writ is. That's what we call a writ in California. So you could build a whole business just around the writ process. And the reason why is you're like, why is it separate in a way? Because the time frames of hey, I just served you, you're not paying your mortgage or your rent, whatever the situation is, it's an unlawful detainer, you're not paying, you got to get out. And then so many days have to go by. In California, was it 5 days? I think it was 5 days. They had 5 days to file an answer.
Replied.
What's that?
I'm sorry. I didn't know I was on. You have 5 days to reply.
Yes, 5 days to reply. Yes, good. And then after those 5 days, if you don't file a reply, then it's a default. Now, what happens is a lot of times is they don't file the default. And I would put it on my calendar as an eviction specialist. I put it on my calendar when I was filing the initial paperwork and when I would go serve it, when I actually served it, I would put in the file on Google. I have a Google calendar. You can create a new calendar in Google. And so I created a new calendar that was just deadline. It's called deadlines. And I put on there, it was in red, right? And it would always say the serve manager order number. I used to use serve manager. And so I would use that serve manager order number and I could just click on it. And I'm like, what's the deadline that this is talking about? I would click on it, it would open up in Serve Manager, and I would see the last note that I left. Default is on this day. And that is so powerful. If you're the guy calling the attorney or the paralegal going, hey, I just noticed I don't have a default in my email. Um, and today's the day. Like, did you want me to go file that? Because you have to understand if you file a default before they file an answer, case is done. You won. So it's really is a race to get that default filed before the defendant files an answer. Of course, it has to be after the deadline, right? It has to be after those 5 days. And some courts are like, well, we got them both the same day. And some clerks will throw out your answer or your default and say, in lieu of the answer, and the judge will agree with them, right? Like, we want the defendant to be able to say their case, which is fine. But why wouldn't the paralegal want to at least be have that? All right. Not a master class on evictions, but essentially that's the way it works. So you could do a whole niche just around doing writs for these companies. We'll go down and prepare them and stuff and go deliver them. Learning the value of your time and efforts. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Jessica. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for $25 to do the whole process for one writ doesn't make sense. However, if you had some way that automated the document preparation, which they're in California, they do have it. There's a couple softwares that do it. And you could knock out 500 writs in a day, $25 each. You're doing pretty good, right? So it just depends on how you're looking at it and how you're positioned to take care of it. Okay, so any questions about evictions or anybody have any comments? I know we have some experience in here when it comes to evictions. Somebody said something. Oh, I think it was Mandy's background.
So were you talking about since I just got in here, you guys were talking about evictions / writs. Were you talking about because I do a lot of writs for Wells Fargo. Actually, it's another company. Not a lot, but I get them and I charge like $150 because I have to drive, maybe an hour to the other county, file it with the sheriff, and then go to the bank, and then come back and do a mailing,
Yeah.
So I charge $150, but I know the lady I bought the business from, she said that one time she got like 200 of them, and her and her granddaughter busted them out, and I think she charged them, a significantly less. But so with the evictions though, I was thinking about marketing that because man, it's like I'll be at the sheriff's office or I'll be, at the court, and you see these people and they're struggling so hard, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I want to help them. And it's like, I was thinking about marketing, sorry to go off, but marketing on Facebook and Meta or whatnot. And I was like, how do I put something together? And this might be the perfect thing because evictions in California are kind of a big deal. They happen a lot.
Yeah, well, I think you're on the right track, and I would say that so of course marketing and having it on your rate sheet and stuff like that is really powerful. But one thing that's even better is to actually prospect for that business. Pick up the phone and call the property management companies and say, hey, I'm a local eviction specialist. I'm pretty sure you already have an attorney that's dealing with this. I was curious if maybe you needed help serving the notices. You guys probably serve your own notices, right? And they say, yeah, I could create a whole script around this, but talking to paralegals, I do it in the 10K challenge. You see that in the basic training, the first course I have. Where essentially I call property managers and tell them like, I'll serve your notices for you. And they're like, well, we usually serve it in-house, whatever. Okay, yeah, I totally get it. It's the number one most contested thing in court is that the notice wasn't served. The number one reason why cases get thrown out is because they can't, without a shadow of a doubt, prove that the notice was served. You can't file an eviction case if they never got a notice. And if they can say, I was out of town for 2 weeks, what are you talking about? And they can prove they're out of town, then you somehow have to prove they were in town or somehow that they got notice. And so the best way to do that is actually to take a date and time stamp photograph of your posting on the door. And when you say that to an attorney or you say that to a property management company, 9 times out of 10, they're like, wow, we don't do that. Well, of course you don't do that. You're not a process server. You're not in this business of posting and serving. You're just, you're trying to give a beautiful place for people to live, and they're not paying their rent, right? And they're like, right, okay, well, let me handle that. That's what I do. That way you can go out and focus on what you're doing. But anyways, so yeah, reach out to them directly. And then what you do is if it is, you don't try to take the attorney relationship away from them, right? You actually want to become like a symbiote. Like, maybe they don't like their attorney. They're completely upset at the situation. They use this guy, like these guys here local for me, they handle everybody. So they're like, well, you just got to be patient with them. What do you mean patient with them? It's a process. How is it there's any patience needed? And that tells me that they don't have enough help. So if I wanted to, I could very aggressively call these property management companies and say, I actually do the evictions from A to Z. I don't charge $5,000 or whatever they're charging, 3,000. I only charge $500 or 799, something like that, right? And we'll actually handle it from A to Z. If for some reason the person files an answer, which usually they don't, okay, but if they do, then we can refer you to an attorney that's only going to charge $200 to show up on the day of the hearing. Now, if you do this, you have to negotiate with an attorney. This is what I did. I had 3 different attorneys that I had not on retainer, but basically I said, you're going to be at court anyways because they're eviction attorneys. If I send you some stuff, will you handle it for me? And how much would you charge? I had one guy that said 500, one that was 200. The crazy thing is, you can get paid whatever fee you want to refer them to the attorney, and you can pay the attorney. You got to check your local state laws, but imagine, yeah, imagine the attorney's like, I'll show up to the first hearing for free. You're charging them $200. There's the client $200, and they're showing up for free. And then you can give them a kickback. You can take them out to dinner. You could hold events once a month. If you're doing this as a niche, you're probably going to have a lot of this happening. It's going to start to snowball for you. So evictions is something everyone owns a house. Now here's how do we find the ideal? Of course, property managers are great, right? Because they have all these properties. But a lot of times property managers are experts. They actually learn the eviction process. They actually do the whole eviction process themselves. And then they just hire the attorney when they need them, right? So there's another way you could go one level deeper. Who actually owns the house? Who actually is constantly owed money? So evictions and judgment recovery go hand in hand as niches. So if you learn the eviction process, you start doing the eviction stuff, and it might seem overwhelming at first, but don't be overwhelmed because you're going to get one job, and going through the process of doing that one job is going to teach you 90% of what you need to know, because you're going to have to figure out, well, okay, what's this writ? Oh, there's a notice of default. Here's this writ. Take it down to the sheriff. Now what Jeff said is exactly how it is in California. Some places in California, the sheriff's department is okay with you doing lockouts. I think that's crazy. I don't want to take people's, duffel bags and throw them in the front yard. I don't want to, time to go, bye Felicia. I don't want to be that person. I want to, I don't envy that job at all. So I think I have no problem just delivering the writ to the sheriff, paying the sheriff's $40 fee to show up in a week. So then even then it's another week after you deliver the writ to the sheriff that they'll go out the next week, because they actually post a notice, 5-day notice with a big sheriff star on it. We're going to be here in 5 days to throw you out. So if for some reason you throw them out and then they're owed money, now you have the judgment recovery side. So imagine talking to an actual real estate investor who needs these people evicted. You can find anybody, you can collect on anything, you prepare and understand the entire eviction process. You are an expert at that point, and you can charge a premium for your services, literally, and they will pay it. Real estate agent, let me tell you something about real estate investors, and then I want to do a screen share. I'll show you guys a couple tools. Real estate investors, they are very cheap, very number oriented, very what do they call it? Introvert. I know because I've partnered with a few of them, and that's good for you, because what happens is they see your value, that their value of time, which is what they care about the absolute most, above money actually. And so what they'll do is they'll ask you to handle it all for them. Just deal with it, Mike. Can you just deal with this, please? I don't want to deal with it at all. And so they're willing to pay you money for that. How do you spell it? Privy. There's a couple other softwares. I know you can actually go on the state's website as well and find these. Let's see here. Privy. How was I misspelling it or what? Privy marketing. That's not it. Mm. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the twilight zone when I'm dealing with this stuff here. Privy real estate. Let's see. Here, Privy Pro. Okay, yeah, profitable real estate investments one click button. So one of these tools that I learned, and I don't know if you want to, I probably wouldn't recommend this one, but property management websites, county websites. Let me just search one right here. Orange County. I know I could use PropStream as well. I love PropStream. Why don't we just do that? And we could actually pull an entire list for different areas too. These guys gave me a free account. Let's see if it's if I can log in. Man, I have this new Apple computer, so all of my passwords are off. We could do a deep dive on this at some point, but basically you can pull property information and find out who owns property investors who own 2 or more properties. And what's really crazy about this is there's actually a filtering mechanism that allows you to filter based on location. So if the property's in, let's say, my eyes drive me crazy. Let's say they have like 12 properties in Florida, but they live in New York. This happens a lot. You can they need an eviction done. They need all kinds of other stuff done at the property. You can be their liaison. You could be the person that helps them manage that stuff from afar. And they'll pay a lot of money. And you can find it on PropStream by just searching cash purchases because real estate investors are always paying in cash. And then they'll flip it and turn it around and sell it or refinance it into their LLC. But they always purchase cash first, right? That's how it works. So, so we can dive deeper on that. That's like a whole thing, and I could go for a couple hours on that. But I want you to know, real estate investors are probably the biggest, best ones. So, what's the next place you can find them at? There's a place called Real Estate Meetups. Okay, and they call them RIAs. Okay, let's actually go to this. This should be like an eye opener for you guys. Okay, when it comes to real estate and how powerful it can be for what we're doing. Let's pick a city. What city should I search? Let me think here. Shayna, where are you at?
Pennsylvania,
Oh yeah, we talked about this.
Scranton.
Yeah, that's right. Scranton, middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. I'm just kidding. Scranton, Pennsylvania. Check this out. Paul Moore, how to build wealth passively investing, online national RIA meeting. Meetup.com has a ton of these real estate investment meetups. And what's cool about these is you could actually find groups where people have already joined. Let's see here, Pennsylvania, Wyoming, Northeastern Pennsylvania, Wilkes-Barre, Wealth Institute. So yeah, these guys are like, they're going to try to teach real estate or whatever. But a lot of the actual associations, the RIAs, they meet on a regular basis. So the other thing you could do is just Google the RIA, Scranton, Pennsylvania RIA. And then actually you could be a sponsor at their association events. So that's why they say the riches are in the niches, because if you do an ad for whatever, for process serving and on the Walmart wall and everybody walking in can see it, how many of those people are going to go, I need a server? Somebody will. But if you can instead put it on the wall at the courthouse, how do you think it would be different? Dramatically different. Oh, look at this guy. This is the guy we talked to. NEPA. He was saying that he wanted to create a network for well, no, he was saying a network for process servers. Interesting. I wonder if he's doing something. So National RIA. So you can come here and you can actually find all the different real estate associations. That's cool. So anyway, you show up to these meetings. They're free to show up to. You show up to the meeting. They're gonna have some kind of little training. If it's an association event, it's more organized and it's not so much a sales pitch. It's more like, what questions do you guys have and how can I help you and stuff like that. And every single person, I want to say 9 out of the 10 people, and there'll be probably 20 or 30 people there. 9 out of 10 of them are cash buyers, what we call cash buyers. The way they make money is by getting deals from wholesalers or somebody else so that they could turn around and flip it. They want to flip deals. And so they're there. A lot of times they look like your neighbor's grandpa. And they've just been doing it for 50 years and they're ready to buy. They're also what you call hard money lenders, where they will loan out their cash for 10% interest. They're just great people to know. They have money and they're buying properties and somebody owes them money, whether it's someone they loan money to or whether it's a tenant, right? So that's a niche that I love and I think everybody should at least know about it. All right. Questions in the chat here. There's a legal clinic I serve for. Discount low income people. And I was able to find the whole eviction process from the tenant perspective. That explains all the documents and timelines. Thanks, Google. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. And there's something to be said about that. There's a couple people that go the way of, supporting the tenant. There's actually these guys you could pay, a couple $100. The problem is, and the reason there's a couple times I thought about going that way because there's much more of them. There's much more people getting evicted than there are needing evictions. That's not true. That's an equal number. But there's much more people that you could work for, right? Because nobody's doing that. There's a lot of people doing the eviction process to get them out, but there's not a whole lot of people helping the tenants. The problem that I found when I went down that rabbit hole mentally thinking about it is that two things. One, the tenants don't have money. What are you going to charge them? It needs to be a nonprofit, kind of like what you found there, like a nonprofit clinic type of thing. And the second reason is that more than half of the time, they didn't pay for some selfish thing, bad decision that they made. It wasn't that they just lost their job and they're having hard times. There's something else going on in their life. And I don't want to be somebody's counselor. You know what I'm saying? So just to touch on that for a second. But yeah, good stuff. Love it. Love it. Yeah, you can find everything on Google. It's awesome. So so there's evictions. So judgment recovery, one of the best ways to find a judgment recovery is to go and look before judgments even happen is where do they come from? Judgments usually come from a debt that was owed. So small claims or evictions or there's some other cases too that we probably wouldn't deal with, some bankruptcy stuff and banks and stuff. But when it comes to actual person owes another person money or business that owns real estate is owed money from somebody, you could be the person to do it. So there was a couple other examples in school. Notary, right? So a notary public, actually, before I move on, the reason why I like the niche of real estate so much, real estate investors, is because they have a giant flag that they're holding that says, "This is who I am. I am a real estate investor. Call me, serve me, do this stuff for me. I will pay you money." The hardest thing is when you're trying to find a customer that you don't know. Go try to find somebody who's about to get divorced and needs to serve divorce papers. How hard is that going to be? Hey, could anyone who's having marital problems raise their hand? I want to be here for you so I can market to you so that when you need me, you can call me. It's not going to happen. So finding people who are very easy to find is the thing to do. And if any of you do decide to go to these meetup groups with the real estate investors, you go as a judgment collection person. I'm an eviction specialist. I specialize in evictions locally, and I collect on judgments, and I can find anybody. And every single person in that room will come up to you. You don't have to come to them. They will come to you. They will say, "Oh my gosh, I got two things for you right away. How much do you charge?" I'm telling you, because it's the most underserved market. People don't do that. They don't actively go and try to help these people. And as who was it who was talking about it yesterday? Was it somebody was talking about it yesterday that they had done some of those, and they do it on percentage. You could do it on a percentage. I just collect 50% of whatever it is. Some of them may be like, nah, I'll just wait. I got a levy. I got a lien on his house already. So I'll just wait, They don't want to give up half. But sometimes they're like, they have no idea what to do. And so you could be the one that helps them put a lien on the house. You could be the one that helps them, levy the bank accounts. You could be the one that does the writ, takes it down. And each of those processes are different, and each of them are different in different states. So you have to do some research. You got to figure it out, right? Like what Jessica's doing over here on Google, figure it out, talk to somebody. Hopefully eventually this group will be very big. And when I say something like I just said, someone will be raising their hand. Hey, I'm actually from that state and I actually do that. And here's how it works. So that's my goal with this community, is to build it to that point where someone can speak about evictions like I can in California, but in any state. Right. Or a judgment recovery in any state. And then at that point, the biggest issue you'll have is you'll think that they're your competition when they're not. Right. There's so much business to go around, more than enough. So the next niche, notary, the reason why I like notary is very similar, is because notary puts you in front of people who are doing deals. When you go out and you do a mobile notary, you're usually, unless it's a will or something, you can't actually notarize a will. You're not supposed to notarize a will. But like other types of documents in those last stages of life, sometimes they'll have them notarized. But deals, they're doing deals. If there's a notary, there's a deal getting done, right? Almost every time. If it's a real estate and you're doing a loan signing, but the other thing too is the clients that you're going to get as a notary are often title companies. And title company relationships, they know all the real estate people. You see what I'm saying? So like you could just double dip all over the place. You can become a notary public, so you're in those spaces. You know how to do judgment recovery. And I'm not saying be like all over the place. You should definitely be focused on one niche, but I'm saying like do one at a time and learn it. And that's how I did it. I started off with a process serving, of course, and then I learned evictions. And then I was like, wow, evictions, I could get a $500 paycheck. I charged $4.99 for an eviction, A to Z eviction. And I was getting 2 or 3 of those a week. And one of my attorneys, I thought one of the attorneys were going to get upset. He's like, that's so cool that you're doing that. He's like, could you prepare my documents for me? And I just pay you your $4.99. That'd be cheaper than me paying the paralegal who takes 2 weeks to prepare them. And I was just like mind blown. I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, yeah. He's like, well, I got 3 paralegals and they're just having a big party there in the lobby basically. And, if you could handle them faster, that would be great. And so that worked out for many years. We did all of his eviction preparations. Mandy, you have something?
Yeah, I have a question. No, I'm in California like you. I can actually prepare the eviction documents for them
Oh yeah.
because I thought I had to be licensed to do document. And I know I'm coming in last minute, so
No,
I
you're fine.
apologize.
No, you're fine. So you know how you have to get registered to be a process server?
Uh-huh.
It's the same thing. It's the same process. It's just a more E&O insurance. And it's called the unlawful detainer assistant. You can look.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I've seen it on the I'll go get it today. That's
Yeah.
my specialty. Okay. Okay. I saw it on the county website right below.
Yeah. Yeah. It's right there.
So it's the same process. Like
Mhm.
you just have to have a pulse and no felonies.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think they may ask you like, have you done evictions for at least 2 years or something like that
Mm.
underneath them, but
Mhm.
there's no like crazy stuff. It's easy to get. And
Okay.
I think they want more insurance, E&O insurance, and there might
Mhm.
be you have to get another bond, a separate bond.
Okay. Oh, I'm
But
gonna go do this. I think this is my niche. I've
yeah.
had so many just through, and I have a lawyer right down the street from me, and I know I have so much. I sorry, I don't mean to butt in, but I took this business over in May, and it's been like a whirlwind, just trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing. And now I'm like, okay, let's focus on marketing because I felt guilty that I haven't been doing it, but I'm literally learning the ropes.
Mhm.
And I took on a full business. But anyway, I'm right by the courthouse, one of the courthouses. And so I'm like, I need to put a sandwich board out there. What do I put on the sandwich board? Evictions, 4.99. So when
Yep.
you're downtown with your family, because it's right on a main street, the court's there, everything, and you're having ice creams and you're thinking about your tenant,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Like,
you
I
see
gotta
my
deal with
sandwich
this.
sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I have all the attorneys right there too. And I have one attorney, and I've been doing just 30-day, notice. I've done 3 of them. I have one I got to go do this morning for a commercial building. So maybe I should hook up with her and say, hey, I'll do your whole eviction process for you. And then, like you said, ask them to give you a deal on the first day of court.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So what I do is I just say it's a complete, a complete package from beginning to end. And if for some reason they file an answer, if you explain to them the fact that most things are contested by the notice,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to take care of that on the front end. Okay. And then most cases that we handle actually just get defaulted because the people who get served don't know or don't care or don't read their paperwork. So they don't file an answer before the default date. And the minute the court opens, I'm there on day 6, depending on your court. Some of them will let you do it day 5, the end of day 5. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm there on the minute day 6 opens with a stack of defaults for all of my evictions. And we would every day, day 6, and sometimes you show up with 1, sometimes you show up with 5 or 6, but you're just doing defaults. And essentially, when they stamp that default, assuming nobody pressures, well, there's an answer here too. Which one came in first? That's a rarity. But when they stamp that default, you've essentially won the case for the plaintiff
Mm-hmm.
you, by showing up before they file an answer. And so
Yeah.
it's like win. And so when you
So
explain that,
I need to find out how the clerks are too, because they're all different. And they're
every
pretty
single
nice
one.
to me because I took over for a lady who's been doing it, but I need to find out what their deal is. If they do a day 6 or a day 5, or they who filed first on day 5, right? Okay.
Right. Yeah, and they'll tell you the clerks will tell you
Mhm.
too, like, you can't file this today. You have to file it.
Mhm.
Thanks, Jeff. Hey, appreciate you coming, brother. We'll see you
All right,
soon.
thanks. Thank you.
Okay, I'm
So
excited.
yeah. Well, I'd love to hear how it goes. Yeah,
Okay.
update me on how the process, if you have to do anything new or
Mhm.
but I'll tell you, having that and being registered and stuff and being able to put that on your card and being able to put, that bond number and stuff, it's just so valuable when you're marketing to attorneys too. Be like, I actually prepare the documents from beginning to end. I can do that for you. Because attorneys are going to get approached all the time, every single day. Especially if they are somewhat established in their marketing and they have like an office. They have paralegals, of course, but $500 is nothing. If they're getting like a $3,000 retainer fee,
Mm.
$500 is nothing for them if they know that you're going to do it. That's the thing, is they need to be confident that you're going to actually do the work, and it's going to be good. It's going to be really good. And then you're going to just give it to them and all they have to do is have their person sign virtually
Mhm.
or whatever, or they let you connect with the person directly. I actually had an office behind the courthouse in in Redding, California, and all the attorneys that I had that hired me to do it were right down that street. And so they would literally tell them, walk down and see Mike. He's got a big thing that says process server daily on it. And so they would come inside my office and I would prepare it right there in front of
Wow.
$500. It was the easiest money in the world because yeah, it takes about an hour. Because they're sitting there and they're talking and trying to tell you the whole story while you're just typing, while you're just preparing the documents. But you could automate it. You could do a form stack form that asks all the right questions. And then you could use a tool like WebMerge to put it in where it goes. And I've always wanted to do this. And I told someone, what's her name? Alexandra. She's in Las Vegas. She did it. And she had in Las Vegas and Reno, and she has some of the biggest. She owns Battleborn Process with her husband. And she says she has attorneys that are like, how do you do this so fast? Because they fill out the form on her website and it all just automatically gets put on the documents.
Oh,
And she just downloads the PDF, sends it to the attorney. The attorney's like, we'll never use anybody else. To have that set up with eviction combined with evictions, and then also have maybe a different person in your office, or you could even farm it out, but to do judgment recovery, because evictions itself could take all of your time and make you a lot of money, right?
mhm.
The one thing to remember is if you can make set some income goals, right? So if you could if it's $500 for each one, can I get 5 a day? Some high goals, right? And then because that's a millionaire status. If you can make 2,300 something, whatever, that's $1 million a year. So that was what I always thought about. And then eventually it became papers, like how many papers at $97 a serve would it take me to get to, $2,500 a day. And I think that's how you focus on the bigger goal and you just keep moving towards it. And Notary Public is not one of my favorites. Like I said, evictions, judgment recovery, is the best. But if you don't want to be so aggressive about prospecting and doing the paperwork and going and serving, being a notary, you're out on the road. And so you'll go hit a serve here, then you'll go do a loan signing here, pays you $150 to do a loan signing for an hour, right? And then you go hit another one, serve for 97. You can do really well in a day and have like 6 or 7 jobs that you did that day, making close to $1,000 every single day. And really do really well. That's not difficult at all. But it's going to take some time for it to build up. It build up and build up, and then you'll start turning away work. Be like, nah, I'm not going to be going north today. If you're willing to wait till Friday, I can attempt it on Friday. That's how the conversations will go. If you can if you can wait until next Monday, because I'm stacked up. If you can wait till next Monday, I'll make an attempt. And if actually I could probably do an attempt today, but that would be an on-demand service, which is It's $500. But what I do is I put everything else aside today. I go handle just your serve. Or you can wait until Monday for $97. Oh, it's about 50-50, believe it or not. They're like, oh yeah, let's just do it today. I got court on Monday, blah, blah, let's just do it today. Boom, $500. Right? Because your time is worth something. Your time is valuable. Your time, your experience, your expertise is worth something. And you should charge for that. I know people that aren't in business that just have worked different jobs. Good people. But just they're good people. I'm not trying to um and they're just like, well, you should only charge what you need in a business. I don't understand that. You should charge what you can, what you can get away with. Because at the end of the day, it's supply and demand, it's market, right? If there's no other customers and you have the leverage, or no other competitors and you have the leverage, you should charge that amount. You should charge the amount because that growth, that money you're getting can fuel your growth and you could grow your company, right? And that's what I think. That's my belief. It's capitalism at its greatest, and I think that's why we're here. Otherwise, you could just go get a job and get your paycheck and go home and be happy with that, right? You can't afford to buy that thing. Well, that's the life you chose. Mandy, is your hand up again? New hand or is this an old hand?
Old hands, my
Oh.
old hands.
Old hand. Here, I'll lower it for you. There you go. Cool, cool. I love your feedback. I love everybody's feedback. What was the last one? Oh yeah, e-filing. So if you're in California, a nice thing to do, it's just very streamlined, is to do e-filing or e-recording. E-recording, I'll tell you a quick story and I'll tell you about e-recording and why this is so powerful. There was, when I first started, about my second year, I remember going to the courthouse and I received a filing from someone down in LA, and I was going to the courthouse and I went and the clerk said to me, the clerk said, "You can't file this." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Because it's not an original. There's no original signature." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean? It's right here." And they go, "No, this is a copy." And I said, "Well, I have heard, I was told I could just come in here." And they said, "Well, no, you have to have a stamp on it that says file by fax or fax filing," which is like, "But I'm not faxing, I'm bringing it in." Yeah, but you received it by fax. I'm saying, I was like, "So who has to stamp it this?" And so the reason why I'm telling you this story is because someone locally convinced the clerks that they were a fax certified fax filer and they were the only person who could file by fax in that area. And so I was like brand new and I was like, "Whoa, I gotta get certified fax filer." So I started researching it, talking to people at Cal's Pro, different people, and I learned that this was all made up. And so I went into the clerks and educated them. Be like, "By the way, I looked up the code, and the code literally says to file by fax and to be considered a fax filing agency, you must have filed by fax." Meaning you received a fax, you brought it in, and you wrote on there, "file by fax." And so I went out and ordered a bunch of stamps that say "file by fax." And so I started stamping and file by fax. "Oh, you're a fax filing agency?" "Yes, I sure am." "Yep, go ahead and file that for me, thanks." And that was it. And that was it. Because I remember having to like write over the signature in blue so it would look original, and trying to do this stuff, and it's ridiculous. So the reason why I'm telling you this is the modern day version of that is e-recording. All 100% of the e-recording companies, they're not e-recording companies. They're just not. They are companies that take the documents to record at the county clerk's office, and they take them via or online ordering. They hire someone to drive down to the clerk's office and record them. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if you find the thing, the little tagline that makes you different, then you can make money at it. So be an e-recorder. Why? Because this is the tagline everybody's using to get the business and to go. Do you do e-recording? Absolutely. What clerk's office do you need something recorded at? Right? Because every county has a clerk's office, whatever they call it. Sometimes they call it public office or like different things, right? Tax collector. Florida calls them tax collectors, I think. It's something different, yeah. But in California, it was the county clerk's office, and that's where you get registered to be a process server. That's where you get registered to do anything, right? I started e-filing last week when my website went up. Almost all the customers so far added it on as a service. It's great. Yeah. I even have a friend who asked me to pay me to just file something for her. Super easy. I'm telling you, e-filing is easy. E-recording isn't as easy because you actually have to go down to the recorder's office, and there's some tools out there that allow for e-recording, but it's only in a couple courthouses. So they took that idea and expanded it to the whole state. So if you're in any local city, like major city, you should say you do e-recording on your website and then offer it as a service and just charge similar to the amount of a process serving service. But remember, when it comes to e-recording, you don't have to go multiple times. You go once and record the document, and you're done. So if you're charging $97 for a service to serve somebody, what would make sense to do for an e-recording when you know for a fact you're not going to have to go more than one time? I say it would be less. I would say do something more like, 59 or something like, something that would make more sense to you, right? Because then people are going to, then what you do is you become the person people know that can do e-recording in that area. And you can get 4 or 5, 6 or 7, stack them up. And now you're doing, this is why, if you're doing the notary thing combined with e-recording, remember earlier we did evictions with, with e-recording, you can combine that with title companies and your notary services. And now the title companies can send, so you can get them to start sending you all their recordings to take down to the county clerk's office. Is that you, Mandy? Oh, did you have something? I thought I saw your hand pop up. Have a good weekend. Okay. I haven't been monitoring the YouTube chat at all. Let me take a look over here and I'll look at my last thing. Why aren't okay. Cool. So networking. So guys, let's do some Q&A. Hopefully you guys have thought of some things that hopefully things make sense to you. Oh yeah, paralegal. That video is already in there, Jeff. If you're watching the replay, day 3 is already in the affiliate networking module. But yeah, basically, let me actually do a screen share, well, to wrap this up, and then we can do any questions you guys have. Yeah, think of any questions you have. I love the idea of people taking action. So if you're thinking about what to do as your niche, that's essentially what today's video is about, is like picking a niche. Go ahead, Mandy.
Okay, so just to review the e-filing, I know the lady who I bought the business from, she's like, she doesn't necessarily tell me who, what, where, but she's like, oh, just write file by fax on the side right
Oh,
here.
yeah.
So when there's companies that offer e-filing services, like what are they, like through Process Server Toolbox, they have an e-filing and they charge, I can't remember what it is, or no, they have another company that they kind of recommend for that, and somehow I think it integrates into their software, but I
Yeah.
don't, I'm just like, well, what's the difference? Like, why am I paying them if I could literally just stamp it on the side of the paper?
So
My,
file by fax is like you're gonna bring it into the courthouse yourself. You're just saying file by fax. It's a very confusing, kind of weird
oh,
thing to do.
okay.
But when it comes to e-filing, you can use an actual portal. Like this is the one I was looking for here. This is the one I don't want any of my customers to know about. So I actually have my own portal. It's called 123efile.com. But California partnered with these guys, and then these guys partnered with us, allowing us to have our own portals, right? And let's see here, sign into your account. So yeah, California e-file. So you can actually e-file if you're in California directly through these guys. If you're in some other state, there's other versions of Tyler in every state. Well, not every state, but most states. And so it's usually, some places it's free. In Texas, it's free. My portal, if you go to 123efile.com, it's $14.95, right? These guys, I think they charge like $5, if I'm not mistaken, like $4.95 or something. Let me see. It looks a lot different than it used to. Let me see here. Register. They got a little news thing here. What I was trying to find that it looks like they don't have anymore is they actually used to show a list of the providers like myself. That's interesting. They took it off. That makes sense. Makes sense that they don't want it, competitors to. But initially, when they sold it to all of us, they had, look, you're going to be on our website, right? EFSPs. Let me see here. Control F. EFSP.
So are you saying I go through you?
I should go through you to sign
No,
the file, or
no,
I should
no.
go through this one? I
No,
mean,
no. I would
giving
go
you
through
my
this one
business.
because you could go through mine, but it's going to charge $14.95, right?
Okay,
I would go here and it's going to charge you like $5.
okay.
But it doesn't matter because once you go through, I'm trying to find out how to log in, but maybe I'll just go to mine so you can see. It's essentially the same. It's just mine charges more, right? Because I want to make some money on it, you know? So, and you could have a portal like this as well if you partner with Tyler or one of these other places. And so they can just go sign up and they sign into their account. Let me show you here.
Mike,
Gosh.
this is Adele. I was gonna say I did see yours on a list of California's the other day when I logged in.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'm just not finding it. It's like a Tyler Technology, something like that. There's a bunch of different ones, but yeah, mine is one of the main ones in California. I think they said I'm like number 2 on the list of the
Mhm.
volume. And it's because the 1, 2, 3 e-file, they put it in alphanumerical order, and some of them will sort it, they'll sort it around. But for a long time, mine was first, and so I got a lot of the attorneys in California to use it. And it's all auto updated and stuff. So, but yeah, e-filing is a good thing. So I was just telling you that just find a portal, log in. You're gonna have to put your credit card information in, or your bank information in, and I'll tell you the biggest struggle with doing it for them. We call what you're talking about is doing concierge or done for you e-filing, where essentially you're going to do the e-filing for them. And there's 2 ways to do this. One, you put your card information in, and it's going to charge you $435 for that a divorce filing, or the $240 for an eviction, right? And that's a court fee, which they'll get refunded if it gets rejected. But you're having to front those fees. The other way to do it is to put their card on file in your portal, their card on file, and you have an attorney account. And it's like I did this for a long time, before I had my own portal. Is essentially I said, I have my own account. I logged in under Tyler as my own account. I called it Michael Reed LLC, and I have all these attorneys that are under me, almost like I have my own law firm and I have all these attorneys under me. Nobody ever told me, because they don't care. Nobody ever told me I couldn't do it. And there's really you don't want to say that you're an attorney or anything like that. But when you create the account, you do say, I'm an attorney. Put your attorney's information in, put your attorney's state bar in, and then you just put your name in as the account holder. You're the one with the email. And then essentially, and the reason why this is okay for those of you guys who are like, what is he talking about? When you create any kind of e-filing account, a lot of these law firms have administrators. The administrators have access to the account. They're the ones that create it. They're not lawyers. And then they have all these lawyers who are inside of their account they will file on behalf of. That's essentially what you're doing. So you just create the account, file on behalf of them, and then you can put their card on file and just name the card where it says, what do you want to name it? You name it their name. So you know it's their card. And when you get another attorney, you just keep doing that, keep doing that. And so I have hundreds of attorneys in my original Tyler account. And then now you can do concierge e-filing. You could charge, anywhere from I charge $14.95, but that's 100% passive on my portal. If I'm actually going to do the e-filing, I was charging $59, anywhere from $59 to at one point $79. I was testing it out, $79 for e-filing. So that's it. Anybody have any questions? So that's a great niche. E-filing is a great niche, especially if you're in California, because a lot of the counties are mandatory. It's mandatory that they e-file. They can't walk into the courthouse. Andy, what's up, man?
Hey, bro. So how do we do the automation on the writs of execution? I don't understand exactly how you do that automation. Is there like a site that you would recommend or anything like that?
Yeah, I don't do the automated writs anymore. But when I was doing them a lot, I was connecting with Chad and Kern and a lot of those guys over there. And they actually used a company called TriStar. And TriStar has, as far as I know, they're the only ones that automate writs like that. And they and I think a lot of the guys have left them. A lot of the guys I know that use them, they were the number one California's process serving software. But as far as I know, they've transitioned. A lot of the guys that I knew, the big hitters that use them, that have moved on to Legal Connect and different things. So, but I know that they do it. They have a whole system where it's like you take the thing and it just boom, 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 spits it all out. But to be honest with you, what I was just telling everyone here is that you'd probably be better off on creating your own automation for the price that you're going to pay for TriStar setup and the monthly fee and stuff. You could just set it up in a form stack form. There's a little bit of techie stuff going on here, but you could create a form stack form, and this is what I use. And it'll essentially, you just put all the fields and then you map all the fields to the documents. So basically when you fill out the form, or when your client fills out the form, it could actually even come from when your client fills out the order form for service or process. It could save that data and you map it. You say, essentially, this is how it works. You say name is name, address means address. And you sit think, well, that should be counterintuitive. It should be, and eventually it will be with AI. But right now you still have to map things out and say this field means this field. And on the document, I want it to show up right here. This field, I want it to show up right here on the document. Does that make sense? And so however it was filled out, that's how it'll get put on the document. And then you essentially have free document automation for life because you prepared that. Well, it's not free because you have to pay for FormStack, which is like $100 a month, but you get the point. Yeah. And there's only a handful of documents that you need to do the whole process. So depending on the person. Jessica. Jessica's hands raised. Oh, did you not mean to do that? Jessica says in the chat, I have a close friend who is or was a top real estate agent, but she's pretty much out of work right now due to the new laws here in Washington and wants to work with me. How could we partner together? She has connections and lots of knowledge about her industry. I personally, for two things. One, never operate based on fear. Never. I would rather you go down the road of something that you're fearful about and fail forward and have a terrible, you fall out with this person and your business blows up, than to not do something. Never do something based on fear. Never avoid something based on fear when it comes to business, because risk is how we make money. Having said that, I will say partnerships suck. I have went through it. I have failed forward when it comes to partnerships. And I will say you're much better off having a different business structure by simply saying, hey, I would love to work with you. Let's do it. And then work per job. So whatever job it is, whatever client it is, if she's going to bring on a certain client, you're going to give her a percentage of what that client brings in. Yeah, we definitely work together 100%. But should you share an LLC where both of your names are on it and it's your company together? I wouldn't. It's just not worth it, because what's going to happen is, as a business owner, as a new business owner, you're getting things going. I don't want to say new, but like, you're getting things going. You're building something, and people's lives change, and they, I'm thinking, what could she help me with to get into what you just talked about? Oh, I see. You're just saying, like, how can you use her to build your business? Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So you tell her, hey, if you find anybody who has somebody who owes them money, I'll give you a percentage, right? Like, I'll give you a cut. If somebody owes them money, here's how the business works with judgment recovery, is that if, let's say Andy owes Mandy. There we go. That'll be fun. Andy owes Mandy $10,000. And Andy wants us to collect it. Or no, he wants someone to collect it. And if your friend knows Andy, he can connect him with us. She can connect him with us, and then you can say, hey, I'll take care of it for you. So what you'll do is you'll take a 50%. Usually it starts at about, you start at about 50%. So I'm going to take $5,000, or in this case, you, Jessica, will take $5,000 of Andy's money if you collect from Mandy. Now, what you could do is you could say, I'll give you half of that and you'll do the work. She'll do the work. You say, if you're willing to do some work and you connect me with the person, I'll split it with you, because you're teaching her how to do it and you're learning how to do it at the same time. And that's okay. That's very normal for it to go down like that. And now she just made $2,500 and she learned the process. And now in the future, when Andy needs something done, she's not going to call you. She's going to do it herself because she's learned the process, and that's okay. So that's why, see how it flips. She has the relationship. You're going to make some money on it. And then she's going to probably keep that relationship and move forward and collect on Andy's future deals. That's how I would do it. And then that way you'll never not make money and spend, you'll never spend time on something and not make any money spending time on it. Does that make sense? What other ways? That's judgment recovery. What about evictions? So like I said, with the investors, like showing up to those meetings, those RIA meetings, and just saying, like, I collect on judgments. I know half of this room has judgments they're ready to collect on or might need help collecting on. Once you've done a few of them, you'll have that level of confidence where you're like, I already know all of you guys are owed money from somebody, and they'll probably laugh because it's true. Real estate investors are owed the most amount of money, especially around COVID when everybody was not paying their rent. So, if she's just getting out of the what'd you say? She's pretty much out of work due to the new law here. Yeah. So, are you talking about the real estate law with buyer commission? Yeah. So that's a really rough law across the whole country. Actually, it's essentially means that buyers don't get a commission from the seller anymore. I'm sorry, buyers agents don't get their commission from the seller anymore. They have to get it from the buyer, and they have to negotiate their commission with the buyer. They can't even show a house. This is across the country. They can't even show a house without having a buyer broker agreement saying, "Hey, I'm gonna pay you XYZ percentage of the purchase for showing me houses." And they're tied to that realtor. That in itself is difficult to get. So I understand what she's going through. Yeah. Yeah. And the industry has done that. Just lots of her clients referrals want her to work for free. And the industry has kind of done that. They have their association to thank for that. Unfortunately, the National Association of Realtors is one of the biggest ones. It's only second to the National Rifle Association in money and in size. And they collect a lot of money from realtors to become a real estate agent. I'm talking about thousands of dollars every year to become a realtor. And if you understand this as a process server, as a judgment recovery person, you see the market shifting. You're going to start to see that anyone who shows homes is an employee of a listing agent. And that's how it's always been anyway, actually. It's just the buyer's agents don't realize it. And as a process server, if you kind of know how this works, you can make money on it. This is why Warren Buffett and a lot of these guys, they're always just watching the markets, even ones they're not even invested in, because they know that it affects other parts of the market, right? So for the sake of today's training, though, I want you guys to know that picking a niche makes you money. It just does. Whether it's judgment recovery, whether it's and judgment recovery is a very it's kind of like a PI, right? If you become a private investigator, judgment recovery is going to be a regular thing because people want you to find somebody that they can't find. Do they have any assets? They want you to find their assets so you can help them, right? And if you're doing evictions, it's going to be a very normal thing for you to be at the courthouse doing e-filings, filing proofs, e-filing defaults and writs and stuff like that. Going down to the sheriff's office will be a regular thing. So you just have to kind of see what fits into what you want to do. for a long time, I didn't want to go down any of the niche routes because I just wanted to be in the office. And that's where I made the most money as a process server, was having other servers out serving them. And I would only serve my local rushes because I got a premium for going out the door. Like, I just love the idea of doing 3 or 4 serves for $500 each in my local area. I just love that. I'm like, boom, 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 hit 3 or 4. And now I'm pulling out all the stops to try to get these guys served, right? I'm going to their work. I'm following them home from work so I can get them as they're getting out of the car. I'm like using every technique I can because I'm getting paid a premium for it, right? That's what I like. And so I thought I'm just going to stay in the office and become a skip trace specialist across the country, because everyone across the country needs skip tracing process servers. So now process servers are my customers. Bail bonds agents are my customers. We didn't talk about this niche, but of course, it's an obvious niche, right? Skip tracing. And the idea that you can use TLO and Delve Point to get you 80% of the way there. And then you got to make phone calls and use what we call sub rosa. Private investigation, we call it sub rosa, is basically lying. Right? You're creating a rosy truth. Sub rosa. You're calling and saying, yeah, I have a delivery, I have a package for so and so, for Shayna Collins, at this address. I'm going to be there tomorrow. You just kind of assuming things in your language, and you're calling her mother that is not her. No, no, no. She doesn't live here. She doesn't live there. She moved. She actually lives with us now. Oh, Mom, I'm so sorry. Okay, well, I can just cancel the package or I can reroute it. Do you want to give me the address there and I'll just reroute it to you guys? Yeah, here's the address. Boom. You got them, right? So if they had a car, or if they had anything like that, that you're trying to pick up, there's a company on the West Coast called Les Schwab. And Les Schwab does tires, they do brakes, they do shocks, they do a lot of stuff. This was one of my biggest clients for skip tracing. They would call me all over California and Oregon. They would call me for skip tracing, and I would find their wheels. So people would buy wheels and they'd be making payments. They actually extend credit, in-house credit, to people. So if you want to buy some spinning rims, you can buy some $4,000 spinning rims. They will finance it for you, and you'll pay them payments. And if you don't make your payments, they come after you. They'll come and take your wheels. They'll jack your car up, take your wheels off, and take your wheels and tires if you don't make your payments. And which was baffling to me. I was like, wow, you guys must have that's even worse than repossessing a car. Can you imagine? You just roll up with your service truck with the jack and start jacking up their car in the driveway. So anyway, each individual Les Schwab manager has their own, they actually are responsible for collecting in their own in-house. So you just call them up. You call up your local Les Schwab and be like, yeah, I'm a judgment recovery person. I do skip tracing. Do you guys have anyone who owes you money? Yeah, we got a couple dozen people who owe us money. We got to collect on. I just don't know where they are. And it's more likely that they just don't want to go out. But if they pay you money, then they're going to go get it. And you don't have to go get the wheels. They do that. You just find the person. So, which is not that hard to do. I'm telling you, TLO and Delve Point will get you 80% of the way there. And then if you don't have the address, you're calling. You're calling everyone they ever met, ever known or lived with, and just saying, hey, I got a delivery at this address, blah, blah, blah. And you got to do it fast. You got to do it all in one day, because they're going to start to talk to each other. Did you get a call about a delivery of a package? Yeah, I did too. I got that call too. Now they're like all on guard, within 24 hours, that's not going to work. Everyone's going to be hip to it, especially when you called the 14-year-old that you didn't know she was 14, the 14-year-old teenager, because that was one of the phone numbers on their Verizon bill, right? And now they're all on high alert. So you got to be careful. You also need to know your local laws. I'm telling you to do some stuff that I did because it was legal according to where I was at the time and what I was doing, right? But in some states, you can be breaking the law doing that. So know your local laws, research it. Yeah, Mandy, we record them all inside the community. This one is going to be in the affiliate networks. And so you can watch the replays. This is the last day 4 of the affiliate networks. We only do the mastermind meetings from Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we're starting, we'll just start our regular mastermind meetings. There'll be about 30 minutes to an hour every morning next week. And then during the month of September, I got to figure out when I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do the Mighty Marketing, which I'm really excited about because as you implement the tools that I teach you guys with this marketing stuff, and you're going to see me do it the next few weeks because I've already know the tools that I want to use, but there's some new AI tools I'm testing and I'm really impressed with. And so you're going to see on Instagram and Facebook, and it probably too much. If you've already subscribed to me, you're probably like, why is he posting 10 videos today? It's because I'm testing if I post it here using this tool, can I automate it to post on different platforms at different times that I've scheduled for marketing purposes? And so I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but it's going to be a lot. And so it's probably going to be a 2-week challenge that we're going to do.
I
Can
have a
you
question,
give?
Mike.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and I'm not typing and stuff. When will you do what you're doing like this past week? Because like before coffee time was just coffee time and chatting.
Yeah.
But I think that you've actually been doing content while you're doing this coffee time. So
Yeah.
when will you do this like again? Because I think this would be like beneficial for me, and I just haven't
Yeah.
been able to get on because I've been serving. But I would make it more, intentful to go ahead and come to coffee time, knowing
Mhm.
we're not just like saying, "Hey, what's up? Like, let's chat on the
Yeah.
weekend."
Yeah, so pretty much every time now it's going to be some type of content. Like we come in the first
Okay.
5 minutes. If people show up in the first 5 minutes, we say, "Hey," we get to talking. But then I go live on YouTube, and when we do it on YouTube, I put all that because all the content's free anyway, right? But I put
Yeah.
it all so you can go to YouTube and just watch videos there too. But inside of the when we do these live in the mornings, it's going to be focused on a specific topic. Like I think Monday we may just be doing. I used to call it Coffee with Mike. Now it's just called Morning Mastermind.
Okay.
Just because some people are like, I don't have any coffee. Am I okay to be here?
Right. That would be me, cocoa or something, orange juice.
But yeah, I really want this to be valuable for people, right? Like I don't want to just get on and chat. I mean, I'm okay with that, you know. But I want people to find value, right? I want people to come away from this going like what Mandy did, where she's like, I'm gonna go get my unlawful detainer thing. I'm gonna go hit the ground running, come back and say, Mike, I got 2 new attorney clients that are gonna have me do their evictions.
Yeah.
This is life changing. If you actually apply this stuff, is life changing. And I'm not at all trying to take all the credit for it. We have a lot of really talented, experienced folks that come in here. And eventually I'll start doing it when we launch the podcast again live. I'll start bringing on some of those heavy hitters, those millionaire process serving companies, and you guys can just pick their brain. Mandy, what's up?
So I'm sorry, I keep jumping in. I guess I'm excited, but I think I'm overwhelmed with all the possibilities. And so I get on your group and it's like a whole learning experience just to navigate Mighty process server. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, what do I sign up for? Like, I know I signed up for this, but because I know like you did, if we signed up like a few months ago, there was something. So anyway, I'm just kind of confused and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't know. I'm just a little confused. So it's like, is there a checklist I can go through? Like, okay, Mandy, like just do this, this, and this right now and focus on these.
I like that. I like that. I don't have a check. I have a 100-point checklist for a new process serving company in general, which I can share with you guys, which I intended to in the basic training. I think it might be in there. But then there's also, I'll give you a brief overview too, is basically if you come into the community, you can come and chat and like communicate with people. And the goal is for you to find servers in other areas if you're forwarding work to other people.
Mhm.
And so I started the directory to make that more obvious. The directory and the websites are the only things that I charge for. I thought
Okay.
about doing a package thing where the community is actually paid as well. But I remembered when I was new and I didn't have like any money, I was just starting out. And I remember I would have probably never paid for a community because you don't know what you're going to get from it too, right? So I think making it free is a good way for people to get started so they can learn the basics and then go from there. But yeah, having a checklist is good, I think, because then you can just be complete about things. Did I do this? Did I do that? You know?
Well,
I'll
I'm
put
just like, what should I do? Okay, so my goals right now are to um do do a package. I should just make one goal, which is do the package for evictions and writs. And so I think that's something I can do. And so as far as your website and what you have going on, like, I'm sorry, I'm just confused. There's like the $27 or 20 something dollar to sign up to be an affiliate. And then I went on the page and I'm like, there's a marketing thing that's like 200 and something dollars. And I'm just like a little
$200. What's
lost.
that for? I want that
I don't
money.
know. It was on your page. It was on your page and it was like a marketing thing. And it was like to unlock this is $290 or I don't know.
Oh, you're talking about the course. Okay, so I caused some of that confusion because when I first came out with the courses, I actually put them these like advanced courses like what we're doing today, this whole week. I was going to charge for them because I was like, I'll make the community free, but if people want certain trainings, I'll charge for them because some of these trainings are really going to be really advanced or whatever, and especially the marketing one, right? But then I again came back and said, I actually value higher than getting that money. I actually value higher engagement. And so, so the platform allows me to change it so that I can unlock courses based on levels. So
Okay.
yeah, so the entire community now is based on engagement. There's no money involved with the community. Like you show up, you participate, you learn whatever, you engage, and then you move up the levels. And I'm gonna reward you for engagement basically by talking to people in the community, by giving you more
Okay.
courses and stuff. Yeah. If you show up live, you don't have to be at that level because you're here. You're actually giving value of your time and showing up live for the training. But to watch the replays, all those replays are inside of that course. And so,
Got it. So
yeah.
if I wanted to go back and watch this one, for example, then I just need to participate more, do some more chats and whatnot, and then it'll unlock these.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's just where I'm at right now because I'm trying to make sense of it so that people will be engaged and be excited about it.
Okay.
But if you're, let's see, your level, let's see what level you are. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, you're level 2. So
Okay.
you just got started. 15 points to level up. You get a point for every like. So one of the fastest ways to do this is just go inside the community, introduce yourself, and ask a question. Like
Okay.
this is who I am. I'm curious to know where you guys are from and what you do. Something like that. And you're going to get a lot of people commenting. And every time someone likes or comments, you get points. And so you'll get up to level 2 or 3 really fast. Everybody
Okay.
can do that too. We just don't want to I think someone figured it out in there. I won't call him out, but he figured that out. So he just kept doing post after post at like 10 posts a day. And it was just not anything really valuable. It was just kind of like, what color's the sky today? Stuff like that. And
So
so
today's the last day for to be signed up as one of your affiliates to be on your list for the discount price.
yeah, so it's
That right?
is it today? I think today is the last day for
Okay.
the package deal. It's $27 and it's not an affiliate really. It's more a directory listing. So
The
you get
director.
yeah, and I give you a package. I'm actually going to spend quite a bit of money on the people who sign up too. I'm going to actually take your branding. I'm going to do a 3 to 5 minute branding video. And it's a little self-serving too, because I'm going to put those videos at the top of the directory listing on my website. So it's going to be like, you can use it on your website, of course, but with the directory, there's a bunch of pages on the state laws and how to become a process server. And that's how I'm going to rank it on Google, the directory. And a big part of that is having like a video and having bullet points and different things. And so I want every directory listing to be like, look amazing. You know what I'm saying? When somebody hits your listing, they're going to be like, whoa, this company has a video and everything, right? I got that from Yelp.
Okay. So
Yelp does that.
I think I know where that link is to sign up, but can you post that in the chat?
Yeah, basically, yeah, I'll post it in there. On the website, it's themightyprocessserver.com. And then let's see here, join the directory. Yeah, here you go. I'll just post the form stack link. Control C. Yeah, and this directory, this is kind of what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing full time essentially. I have my VAs and myself, and I had a team of VAs putting new content and data, creating new articles every single day because the biggest value when it comes to this stuff in is in ranking on Google. And to rank on Google in every city and every county in the country is quite an undertaking. And but I want to do it because I think that it's going to benefit the industry overall. Because we have some great associations. I scream to the rooftops of NAPS and what they've done for the industry and CalSPRO. But I firmly believe that no company or industry has done process serving any real value that we can provide as a community. There, I have not seen one community that provides education, that provides training, that provides networking and just community, like a friendship, a group. I've been in real estate, I've been in marketing communities, I've been in marketing conferences and real estate conferences. People build like long-lasting friendships and relationships, and they learn and they see and they have a mentor essentially that helps them rise up. And I haven't seen anything like that in process serving. So I've decided that's going to be me. I'm going to help people grow their businesses, build businesses they can be proud of, that can actually provide for them, and that can they can maybe one day sell, you know. So that's it. That's the message, that's the goal. And so the directory is my way of monetizing it so that I can actually make sense of running ads. Because right now I'm spending about $300 a day on ads, just running ads to this community and to the directory. And so that makes sense of it. So you'll get I would give it a year and to get to see an ROI on it because we're still building it out. But I'm going to give you all the bells and whistles and give you marketing tools and everything along with it. I've had some people reach out to me like, "Well, it's not ranking yet. Should I put on?" It's up to you. I wouldn't give me your last dollar, but if you're running a business and you want an extra backlink to your website, then you should definitely do it. So great question, great stuff. So I put it in the chat there. Feel free to click there. Also, if you just want more information, I'm actually going to do a checklist for you though. I'll start that. I'll have that done by next week, but I think a checklist is a good measure. Also, if you before I forget, because we're wrapping it up here, if you guys are participating in the challenge, this other challenge that we're doing, it's who brings in the most members, refers the most members in. By this Saturday, I'm actually giving away a 1-year directory listing, and I have to look up the other things I said, but I said a lot of fun things. Like I'm really excited about doing. I know one of them was making a video, doing an SEO coaching call, and was it $100? I think I said $100 worth of online courses, which I'm not even charging for now. So I'm going to give you a $100 gift card, okay? Because I want to make it that right. So whoever brings in the most. Who's ever brought in, if you're just listening to this now and you're new to this, you probably aren't going to get it. But Jessica and Jeff and Adele, I know, brought somebody in. It's going to be tight. It's going to be neck and neck. But let's meet. For sure, if you're not here on Saturday, we'll meet on Monday. But I'm going to do it live on Saturday about it as well. Is it Saturday or Sunday? So if you guys are never sure about what's going on as well, you can actually go to. I'll show you this and then we'll wrap it up. If you're ever not sure where to go or what time things are happening, I am being very religiously using this calendar when it comes to what we're doing here. So these are all blocking this here, but here we go. So it's actually Sunday at 5, which is 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're doing a Mighty Meetup, which is essentially about once a month. I want to do one of these on the first of the month would be nice. And we're going to announce the Mighty Contest winners and welcome new members to the community. So come meet people, all the new people who come in. I'm going to mention them by name. And we're going to talk about the people who are on the leaderboard, who have been the most engaged. I've actually already did a post today about this post right here. And I would love for you guys to follow me on Instagram. So when I'm tagging you guys, you actually show up. Look at Ryan. He's brand new and he's already like way up here. Jessica, she's been crushing it. So yeah, getting on the leaderboard will be the fastest way to unlock all the courses, the replays for all the courses. And that way you don't have to show up live every time, So last 30 days, Jessica is winning. So I'll do some giveaways for this too. I got to think about what it is because I don't want to just do cash. I think that's kind of I know it's nice to have like an extra Amazon gift card for $100 or whatever, especially with Christmas around the corner. But I think I could give you way more than $100 in value just spending some time with you in your business, talking about what it is you got going on or whatever. Just making one right decision could make you thousands of dollars, right? Versus just like a little gift card. So you can see if you click on leaderboard, you can see which ones are unlocked when. So level 5 is what you probably want to make a goal to get to. Only 6 members. You can see the percentage of the members. Only 4% have reached level 4. Over half of the membership is at level 1, so that's pretty normal, I guess. And number 2, 16%. So you can chat with other members. And then Rising Star, it's like, hey, you're actually starting to get involved here. I want to start spotlighting those people. So anybody who's level 3 or above, I want to do a spotlight. And what that means is you get to be on, well, I'm going to look at your business, look at your website, check it all out. And I'm going to put you in here in the classroom under the case studies right here, member spotlights. So anytime somebody reaches that level, they could see other people who have reached the level because I've interviewed them, right? So I have Adele here. This is where I went over Google My Business, schedule mighty member. So yeah, so get to level 3 so we can do that with you. So I think that'll be fun, you guys. And as a process server, I know you're busy. You got to be out there serving. Don't think that I'm remiss on that. I totally understand that, and I want you to be safe out there and stuff. But you tune in when you can, participate when you can. Download the app, the school app on your phone. That'll make it way easier, and you can communicate and engage right there on your phone. That's the way to do it. Thanks for putting up with me in the chat. No worries, Jessica. I know you got kiddos, you got other things going on. Thanks, Mandy, Shayna, Jessica, everybody. We had Andy on for a while and Jeff on as well. If you're watching the replay, guys, join us live. Join us in here. Ask your questions. If you've been in the industry for a long time, which I know there's a lot of guys who watch me on YouTube, they'll have their comments and stuff like that about, well, this way, that way, process serving, tips. Show up here. We'd love to have you. We don't care how old you are. We don't care how young you are. Show up. We'll have a conversation. We'll help you out however we can. Again, today's the last day to get the full package that I'm offering with it when it comes to the 3 to 5 minute video highlighting your company. And if you're curious what that is, just go to mightyprocessserver.com and click on join now or join today. That button will take you to the page that lists everything out. I feel like I should just show it really quick because most people just aren't going to go. Let's see. Here we go. So if you go to mightyprocessserver.com and you click on join today, you can also click on this one, nationwide directory right here. Excuse me. So yeah, giving you a full listing with all your information, a logo, obviously highlighting your company, 3 to 5 minute fully edited video that highlights your brand and services. This one's going to take me hours to complete. This one I'm going to use some AI and I'm going to try to save me some time. But essentially, you need to edit a video to really highlight your brand in a professional manner. That's going to show. If you want to be involved, I'd love to do a Zoom call and get some like audio clips from you. That would be even better. Or it's like, what does your company stand for? And I'll ask you a bunch of questions and I'll just take the clips and the highlights of that and make it into a video with some music and some intros and outros. And I've had some of my friends in the industry pay me thousands of dollars to create these videos for them. So 3 SEO tags. So basically with your directory listing, you get 3 counties included. Usually it's 1 county and then you pay an extra $12 per county, right? I'm going to give you 3 counties. That means that when someone searches a specific county on my website or on Google, Google knows to show these certain listings, right? That's the idea on Google. And you could add 3 additional links. So essentially, if you have social media links, if you have your website, stuff like that, you can add all that on your listing. And then you can add additional counties for $12. I only want to do 5 per state because we're going to end up doing a statewide listing that's going to be like probably like 297, something like that. It's going to be a lot, but I'm not going to even do that until it's ranking nationally. And then, of course, you'll be eligible for an interview. I don't want to interview everybody. If you have nothing to say and you haven't been serving at all, probably not going to interview you. But I will do a member spotlight. I will show you how's it going in the community so far, stuff like that. But if you're crushing it and you got a story to tell on the podcast, I'm stacking up some interviews to actually interview people on the Mighty Process Server podcast. It used to be called Process Server Daily. And you could under resources, you can actually listen to a podcast. Those of you guys that have never heard of it, this goes way back. I've interviewed every state. I've interviewed the top company, the million dollar, like, direct legal support, Mike Kern, Michelle Gomez. She had her own TV show where she was like the 411 bounty hunter. Jay Sorensen was an employee of mine that would like dive into weeds and find people. Davey Keith like drives around a Hummer with a 50 caliber on top. He's out serving people. Ken Ringo, I don't know if he's still in the business, but he was in Texas. So just so many cool stories. And so if you're on that level and you want to be interviewed, I'd love to have you on the show. Mandy, go for it.
I've been wanting to do like some things on TikTok and some reels.
Mhm.
And I have great stories already.
Okay.
But I'm like, I've done searches for process serving, and there's really not a lot of videos. There's not a lot of anything for process servers out there. And so I'm like, maybe the reason is because, well, I live in this small little county, and like some of the stories I have, like, I don't know. I'd like to tell these stories in little clips, but I'm just wondering, like, is it appropriate? I mean, I don't know. Like, what would be a niche for a process server to do videos,
Yeah.
or little reels?
So I'll help you out. So I can't tell you. I wish somebody would have told me this a long time ago, but I started that podcast and it became a national podcast where people like had heard it. Every conference I went to, people, is really strange. One time some girl came up to me and wanted an autograph and a picture with me. That was the weirdest thing. I was just like, and I had my wife at the time with me, and she's like, what's that about? And then she told me that she'd listened to all my podcast episodes and all my YouTube channel, all my stuff on Facebook. And it's just the strangest feeling. And it's the reason why probably the reason why I'm doing this community now is because I started that podcast focused on serving process servers. Process servers were who I interviewed. Process servers were who wanted to watch, right? So I serve that audience. So just make sure when you start creating this content, you're serving the audience that you want to pay you money. See, if I would have done things a little differently, like there's a guy named the Santoni Spotlight. There's a guy down in Los Angeles. He's called the Santoni Spotlight, Tim Santoni. And Tim is a great example of what is appropriate, what you should do. If I was going to advise someone to do some content and you're a process server, that's what you do. You interview people in your niche. So let's say you're doing say you're doing evictions. You interview the eviction attorney. And what are some of the most common things that you see as an eviction attorney? How can property owners or real estate investors avoid going to eviction? What are some of the biggest mistakes they make? And you get content that way. Now, if you want to tell stories as a process server for content, you can do it. Just know that the people who are going to watch and care about it are going to be random people and process servers. Does that make sense? Attorneys are going to go, oh, this seems like a liability. Like, you know what I mean? So I'd love to, have you on the show and talk about that stuff on the podcast. But when it comes to like building your brand, like if you look at my brand 123 EFA, it's all, you know, blue, safe, corporate chase, this, whatever your color is, it doesn't matter, but keeping things very professional, above board. Like, even if you watch my videos, my e-filing YouTube videos, where I'm teaching people how to do things in e-filing, I'm very, yeah, this is Michael, I have a blue backdrop, um, e-filing specialist with 123 legal support. I'm going to show you guys how to compress a PDF file or whatever. And that's how you want to be when it comes to certain, because that's the customer type, right? They're expecting that level of professionalism. But when it comes to just sharing those stories, I share them here, share them on a
Yeah.
podcast. Start your own, if you really are passionate about it, start your own podcast where you talk about everything process serving. So what you could do is say, this is where I have leveraged process serving stuff before. Whereas when I'm calling and talking to attorneys, I can say, I have a national network of process servers that I teach and coach. Check out my YouTube channel. And here you are talking about a story where someone was at the door being, but so you could just have fun with it, teaching process servers, teaching anyone who cares to watch, really, because that's what it is. But people get to know that you're a process server. So
Yeah.
those are the different thoughts I would have on it.
I found a Reddit. I found a paralegal Reddit, right? And I forget what you call it, a group or whatever. So apparently there was a process server one, but it got deleted.
Huh.
And I don't know why. Probably maybe because the stories were outrageous. I don't have no idea. But I thought it was funny. I went to a paralegal Reddit, and the paralegals were just going back and forth about process servers and their favorite ones. And they're like, oh, I don't trust anyone who has like a totally tied up, like just beautiful website. Like, I like the ones. And these guys, there's a whole thread about them, of them going back and forth saying, I like the process servers that have like an old school, like HTML built website, and just like really like, so it's funny because the door of my office, it has those gold letterings that you buy at like the hardware store, like really basic, and it just says a better process, like right on the top of the glass door, like very 1980s, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, should I upgrade the logo or should I just go with it? Because lawyers might like, and paralegals might like people that are a little more old school. Like, just listening to this thread, I thought, oh, well, that's kind
Yeah.
of funny. Like,
Yeah,
is
it's
that
funny you say that, because I think there's some validity to that when, like, if I'm looking for a processor, right, and I'm looking at on Google and I find somebody and they have this like old school website, and you're like, man, they need a new that's your first thought, is like, this is an old website. But then you're like, the guy who answers the phone is probably the guy serving the papers. That's a nice feeling to know that I'm going to get the guy. I think that's really what they're probably getting at, is, I imagine, is because that's how I feel when I'm trying to find a guy. But I will say that guy is always the guy serving the papers, or gal. It's never the person who has the volume, who gets the big contracts, does that make sense? So that's the other way to look at it, is like, that's true. Those individual paralegals may love that because I like that. But when it comes to your business and building a business, you definitely want to lean more towards the professional side, because they will discount that guy right away. Oh, he can't handle the volume. We may send him a couple jobs here and there, but he can't handle the volume. He can't even afford a website. He's not going to be able to handle a job in this county over here, and then the county over here the next day, and then 10 over here that day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had people ask me too, I tell a story a few times about how I would serve this one attorney very well. And the other attorney in that office was like, can I talk to you, Mike? He brought me outside. For some reason, it was kind of strange that we went outside, but he told me, he's like, can you handle 30 or 40 jobs a day? Do you have a team or people who can help you? And at the time I was lying out the side of my head, but I was like, yeah. Yeah, of course. Like, I got people all over,
Yeah.
And sure enough, that was how I got my first big collection account. Yeah, but the website it progresses over time, you know. But nowadays it's my team and I, we've made it so like a no-brainer for people. $500 setup fee for a $10,000 website, and you just pay a hosting fee. Um, and it really is a fully optimized, like high, you know, it really is
So
worth that.
not to ask too much about, because I'm sure I can go look, but I already have a website that was built a million years ago that there's the lady I bought it from has, and it's not super old school, but it's not, not that updated either. And so what I would like to do is have it so people can upload their files and all that. So is
Yeah.
that what your website, it has all that? So I can integrate it with Process Server Toolbox and all that?
Yeah, so Process Server Toolbox has a customer portal, and so we build you a customer portal page so they can log into their account.
Okay.
And when it comes to online ordering, we have a form stack form, makes it really simple. We build it out for you based on your rates and your areas and stuff. And yeah, we just build it out for you, and it's like kind of an all-in-one solution for being able to receive orders online.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then, but I will tell you, you'll learn this later if you decide to do it, or you keep watching the videos. But I have progressively changed the form and added things to it to make me more money. Whether it's a service or process, or the fact that you can charge for skip tracing in the process of ordering and filling it out. There's options on there, right? Like if you get to the very bottom, it asks like, what do you want to do with the proof of service? And 9 times out of 10, they select e-file it for me. And that's a $14.95 fee just tacked on to whatever my service rate is. So there's a way to get paid up front for all of these things if you do it right. And so I've already been down that road. I've been down the road of not getting paid. I've been down the road of someone doing a chargeback to a credit card. So now I have like in my user terms, no refunds with a signature confirming that and everything. So whenever I get a chargeback, I just send it to the arbitration people, a screenshot of that email and say, hey, and then I immediately win the case. Got a fly right here. Got him. Disgusting. All right. So good questions, good stuff, you guys. I love seeing stuff happen. We got Jessica put her website in here. Yeah. Yeah, Desi and the team, they built that. They just build such great website. When I first started doing it, it was all about marketing and getting conversions and stuff like that, which is good in SEO. And I use ClickFunnels and a bunch of stuff. And then finally we had our own builder set up, and um and I brought on Desi, and she has OCD. I love her. She's got a lot of different things, but people say OCD, they think it's bad. No, for her, it's good. Like every little detail has to be perfect. And if it's not, she obsesses over it. So I always tell people, give her at least 10 things you want her to change about your website. And she'll be like, she's excited to do it because she wants it to be perfect for you. And you just send her an email. Hey, can you add this to this page? Hey, can you take this photo off? And we could give you access to log in and make changes yourself, but she's happy to do them for you as well, which I think is a great service, which I've continued to tell her we shouldn't do, but she's excited to do it. because you get some people who take, right? They just want to change something, every single day of the week for every month. And it just doesn't make sense financially because we don't charge very much per month. So cool. I think this was great, you guys. I had fun. You guys, your participation makes it so much more fun and enjoyable to do these. So we'll start again on Monday. I might start the marketing training, but I don't know. I want to get a couple of things dialed in first. But if you're watching the replay, thank you for watching it this far. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being a member of Mighty Process Server. And if you're on YouTube, go join. What are you waiting for? Join, because apparently I'm confusing. Go join the community for free. And if you want to join the directory, you can do that as well at mightyprocessserver.com. Thank you, Mandy, for sharing with me so that I could be more specific. Okay, perfect, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you guys Monday. Be safe and live mighty.